Hi, everyone, and welcome to Finding Your Bliss, the show that helps you find and follow your bliss. I'm Judy Librach, and today we have a very exciting show all about the latest in surrogacy in Canada with leading fertility specialist Dr. Clifford Librach and award-winning fertility changemaker Baden Colt, who is the founder of Not My Tummy and also a mum by surrogacy. We're also going to meet five-time surrogate Catherine Lane and an incredible personal story of two dads who are celebrating the birth of their third child by surrogacy. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about our first guest, founder and director of the Create Fertility Clinic, Dr. Clifford Librach. Dr. Clifford Librach completed his medical school and obstetrics and gynecology residency training at the University of Toronto, followed by fellowship subspecialty training in reproductive endocrinology and infertility at the University of California, San Francisco. Dr. Librach is the founder and director of the Create Fertility Center in Toronto. He's a full professor in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Toronto. Dr. Librach has made significant contributions to current fertility practice in Canada and internationally. He's served on provincial and national committees for the development of standards for the practice of REI in Canada. Dr. Librach is a past president of the Canadian Fertility and Andrology Society. He is a leader in the field of reproductive biology research. And from a clinical research standpoint, Dr. Librach has been a pioneer in the study of the medical and psychosocial aspects, as well as pregnancy outcomes related to IVF and third party reproduction. Some of his major basic science contributions include uncovering important factors indicative of embryo quality, developing methods to improve embryo implantation, improving andrology diagnostic testing, and developing new methodologies in pre implantation embryo genetics. Dr. Librach has published over 150 peer reviewed publications, over 750 abstracts, and 8 book chapters. Dr. Librach has been an invited speaker at more than 50 international and national meetings. Welcome, Dr. Librach. Also in the studio, we have Baden Colt, and I'm going to tell you all about her. Baden Colt is a passionate storyteller, award-winning fertility changemaker. She's a mom by surrogacy and the founder of Not My Tummy. A master's degree in health communication has led to over a decade of experience working in healthcare as a writer, marketer, and social media expert. In 2017, Baden began her journey into the surrogacy world when doctors confirmed she would be unable to safely carry a pregnancy. Using skills honed from the corporate world, she began sharing her surrogacy journey online. Her story quickly went viral, reaching millions and millions of people, most importantly, her surrogate, Ashley. After years of heartbreak and hope, Baden and her husband welcomed their daughter, Scotty, in the summer of 2023. Congratulations. And when intended parents from around the globe began asking for her help telling their own stories, she saw a great opportunity to put her experience into practice. From there, Not My Tummy was born. So, Baden Colt, also welcome to Finding Your Bliss. Also in the studio right now is Catherine Lane. Welcome. Catherine is a five-time surrogate who is in the process of creating her own YouTube channel to discuss things related to a couple of her passions, surrogacy and baking. The channel is called The Surrogate Baker, always a bun in the oven. There's so much more I have to tell you about her. You'll be meeting her later on in the show. Catherine Lane, welcome to Finding Your Bliss. All right, everyone. So great to have you all here. I thought I would start just with the medical aspects. So, starting with Dr. Clifford Librach, can you just give us a general understanding, Dr. Librach, of what surrogacy is and why people need a surrogate?
My pleasure to do that. So surrogacy is when you're carrying a baby for somebody else because they're unable to have a child on their own to be able to carry a baby. And there are many reasons why people need a surrogate. For example, you could be born without a uterus. Some women have that problem. You can have your uterus removed because of some type of medical condition such as cancer. And also you can have an abnormal uterus where you couldn't carry a baby. Another reason you might not have a uterus is if you're a man. So we have same-sex male couples and single men that also have to use surrogacy. And then we have women who have had multiple miscarriages or failures of implantation of embryos, and also women that have medical problems where carrying a baby would be very dangerous for them to do, and that would be a really risk to their life. And then we also have women that take medications that could harm the baby during the pregnancy that are required for their health care. So there's a many different reasons why, and that's just touching the tip of the iceberg, as there are many other reasons as well. But that's really, in a nutshell, why people need a surrogate to have a child.
That's a great answer. Dr. Liebrecht, how do you medically assess a surrogate to see if it's safe for her to do this and if really she's an appropriate candidate?
A surrogate is doing something to help someone else have a child. They're doing an amazing thing. I always call them heroes for doing this. But we also want to make sure it's safe for them and also, of course, safe for the baby. So we do a full medical assessment, and for the most part, almost all surrogates must already have children and have had healthy births without difficulty, and also they must be healthy as themselves. And we do a full medical screening with physical examination, blood testing, ultrasound, and we really want to make sure that this is safe for the surrogate to do, and of course for the children they'd be carrying.
Wonderful. So I know you have to put all the pieces together. You're almost like a puzzle maker. So, what do you do exactly as a fertility doctor to bring all the parties together, as it were, i.e., the intended parents, the surrogate, etc., sometimes the lawyer? Can you paint a picture of what that all looks like?
I look at this like a team that of all these people involved in helping create this amazing baby at the end of the day. And so, we have to have doctors, of course. We have nurses involved. We have our administrative people. We have counselors, psychosocial counselors to talk about the psychosocial issues. We have lawyers involved to do the legal contracts. So it's really a team of people working to this amazing goal. And that's why it's such an incredible process. And when we were successful, it's just amazing.
What are some of the most common reasons why people need to do this in order to have a child and to build a family?
So really, it's what I was saying before, that people just cannot carry a baby for whatever reason, or they, same-sex men or single men, they need to use a surrogate, obviously, because they don't have a uterus. So all those people come to us, and we have people coming from Canada, but all around the world, because it's not really available in many countries. It's actually illegal in some countries. So we outreach to people around the world to do this, and they come to Canada. And they really think of Canada as an amazing place to have surrogacy and have a child.
I'm going to be speaking to Baden a little bit about this as well soon, but just briefly, is there government funding and assistance that is helping intended parents with surrogacy?
There is certain provinces, Quebec and Ontario, and then soon British Columbia has come in with government funding, which is amazing. Also, some provinces like Ontario have a tax credit. So if you spend money, you can get money off your taxes, which is much better than a tax deduction. And you really can help. The government wants to help people have children this way. And in fact, in the new government, the federal government, they've also introduced the possibility of giving funding for people that are doing fertility treatments. So it's really exciting in Canada that there's such a support for this. And I think I'm so proud of being working in Canada.
Does Canada have friendly laws to support the process of surrogacy?
They actually do, and it's amazing. It's changed a lot. It used to be took months to get all the a judge to decide that this baby was okay and would be able to have a passport and a birth certificate. Now, most of the provinces, they've made it so much easier to do this within a very short period of time. Ontario, BC, Alberta are some examples of really easy provinces to do this. But other provinces, we do it all the time in the Maritimes. Quebec is a little bit more complicated, but we can do it there too. So it really is a great country to be working in when we're working in third party or surrogacy to have babies.
That's incredible. there's lots of challenges. We're talking about all the great things, but there's many challenges. And I wonder, what about single men or same-sex male couples? What are their challenges and how can you help them?
I always remember back when I used to help same-sex female couples. It was easy for most of them. You'd just do an insemination and they would get pregnant. But when men came to me, I thought, oh my God, should I be doing this? And I thought, of course, I'm doing it for women, so why not for men? And of course, they have a much more complicated journey to do this. They don't have a uterus, so they obviously need a surrogate, someone wonderful like Catherine to do that. And they also need to have an egg donor. So all of that has to come together for them. So it makes it more complicated for them, but we have gotten to a point where our team can do this in a very smooth, easy way to go through all of the steps and be able to achieve a pregnancy for them.
I find you get very passionate, and I think a lot of people in this field, like all of you on this panel, are like this. Dr. Librach, what do you love about doing this work?
I think it's just the most amazing thing. We're working with people who have no other choice to have a child. They're so desperate to have a family like all of their friends and family members have, and for us to be able to help these people that have no other choice, together with people that are on this panel, and to really make this happen is makes me just feel so proud of what we do. And many years ago, I started our third party program, and we now have the largest program in Canada, one of the largest in the world, actually. And we were just in Europe, talking to people there about having children through Canada. And I think because I've dedicated so much to this, it's made our program just amazing for people to go through and be able to help have children. So
It's
I'm very
incredible.
proud of what we've done at our clinic.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I told you a little bit about Baden Colt, but just to refresh you, if you're just tuning in right now, she is an award-winning fertility change maker. She's a mom by surrogacy, and she's the founder of Not My Tummy. And welcome again, and so lovely to have you here, Baden. Uh, can you tell us about your personal experience having a baby by surrogacy? And if you can, paint us a picture of what it was like, what was involved, mentally, emotionally, all of it. What exactly happened to you?
So, as Dr. Liebrecht mentioned, there's a number of reasons that someone might go through surrogacy. And for me, that was because I take a medication to control epilepsy, and that medication is not pregnancy safe. And while I did try to come off of the medication and go on to a pregnancy safe medication for epilepsy, which they do exist, they didn't work in my case. So my options were limited. And so it became very clear to my husband and I that this was going to be the route if we wanted to have a baby. And so that meant the first step was going to be IVF to create embryos, and second step was going to be to find a surrogate. Um, like really any couple that is facing this, it was at first very overwhelming. The emotional toll of saying, what is involved. Of course, when you're facing this for the first time, you don't know the answers. You don't know if it's legal. You don't know if it's safe. You don't know what it looks like at all. So I turned to Google, like many people do, to answer
Yes.
these questions at first. And thankfully, Google offered a little bit of information, but not a ton. So we made our way over to Create, actually, and that was really our first step in the journey, which I'm very glad we landed there because we've received so much support, and I I can't tell you how grateful I am. But we went through the process of finding a surrogate by really opening up and harnessing my husband and I's personal story. We realized that the best way that we would be able to connect with a different person and inspire them to do this really huge thing for us would be to be vulnerable, to share the things that we love. And, I looked at my husband and I thought, oh, he's going to be such a great dad. And, presumably he felt the same way about me as a future mom. And I thought, no one's going to speak as lovingly about my husband as I will, and vice versa about me to him. So we created an Instagram account, we created a blog, and we just started sharing. And this was a number of years ago in 2020. There was not a whole lot of conversations happening from intended parents, especially in Canada. about this. So when we started sharing that we were looking for a match, people were really interested in what we had to say. And very quickly, we had a video go viral with about
Wow.
700,000 views.
Oh
And
my goodness.
um, the wait times to find a surrogate can be lengthy in Canada, but we immediately had about 3 or 4 dozen surrogates reach out from
Wow.
that one video. So that, to be clear, that's not normal.
That's true.
That is a very unusual situation. And not only did we match through that video, but a number of other intended parents that I'd befriended, we were able to connect them to other candidates too. So from that
Wow.
video, from that one post, I think 5 babies were born.
Isn't that wonderful? Wow. That is what we call a mitzvah, which means just an incredible gift. Isn't that wonderful, wonderful stuff? I love that. And then you parlayed this into something really incredible. And I really am struck by your company, Not My Tummy. Can you tell us about your brainchild, Not My Tummy? What a great title, and how it all evolved.
So initially, the blog that I had just been sharing my own story on was called Not My Tummy, but I'm Still Mummy. And so, as we moved forward in our journey and moved towards the birth of my daughter, um, people were reaching out from all over the world and saying, well, you were able to go viral, you were able to share a blog and have all this success. Could you help me? And so at the time, I was working in medical communications, and I loved what I was doing, but there was a special passion for this journey that I felt. And so in my off time, evenings and weekends, I started helping couples from around the world with creating accounts and revising their profiles and just finding a new way to share who they were and what makes them exciting. And very quickly, all of those people started to match. And I realized that there was something there. And thankfully, I have a very supportive husband who believed in the dream and decided after I finished parental leave with my daughter to launch Not My Tummy as a company. We dropped But I'm Still Mummy because I do help a lot of gay couples who are, regardless, not going to be mummy.
Nice.
um, so I get to help couples every single day to make fun videos, to rewrite the profiles that they write, to pitch their stories to national, local, international media, which is pretty exciting. So part of what I do is kind of demystifying the surrogacy space, and part of what I do is help people achieve their goals of meeting surrogates and then hopefully having their baby when everything works out. So
That's
it's
so
it's pretty
fantastic.
special work.
That's so fantastic. And it's true, and I want to share with the listeners, I've seen so many articles about you in the Globe and Mail, and you've been on the CBC and in Today's Parent and CJN and everywhere. I understand there are some new laws that are helping intended parents with parental leave. A new Ontario law known for the little girl, your daughter, Scotty, if I'm not mistaken, who inspired it, is helping level the playing field for families created through adoption and surrogacy by giving them the same benefits as other parents. Can you tell us more about Scotty's law and how it extends the provincial's 15-week maternity leave?
Yeah, so earlier on in my journey, I realized that intended parents across the country did not have the same equitable leave that everybody else did. And that didn't sit well with me. And my husband and I, we are doers. We like to fix things. It's our hobby. Maybe we need to take up gardening. But we decided, we see a problem. I think it's fixable. And so first of all, we went to federal representatives and we asked for this change.
So, Baden, also in Ontario, can you speak to the new All Families Are Equal Act? Because I think it's significantly streamlined the process of recognizing parents, including those using surrogates or same sex couples, by eliminating the need for adoption processes. This means that intended parents, regardless of their genetic or gender identity, can be listed as parents on a birth registration. And furthermore, Ontario's regulations allow for up to 4 parents to be listed on a birth certificate. That's so cool. Can you speak to a little more about what this All Families Are Equal Act? What a great name.
So we really got to benefit from that. My husband and I went directly on the birth certificate for my daughter, who was born in Ontario. And from a parent's perspective, it really just made us feel um, validated because my daughter is just that, she's my daughter. And so sometimes it's these, I don't want to call them little pieces, but the administrative pieces, paperwork. For a paper to say that I'm her mother, it's a big deal. It is more than just paper. It's the government recognizing who I am to my child, and it means a great deal to families. Um, it's important that we take these steps, that we look at policies, we look at laws, and we think, how do we make them evolve to best reflect the families and the diversity of Ontario? And
Mhm.
laws like that do just that.
Absolutely. It's acknowledging, it's acknowledgement, and it lands in a very deep place. And I think it's so great that they have it. Baden, I know you've touched on this already, but what would you say are some of the best ways to find a surrogate that you have found to be tried and true? Like, how do you find the right surrogate in your world? What has been your best tip?
So I always say you have to be true to yourself. There is someone for everyone, and I know that can sound like a crazy thing to say when sometimes the odds look tipped against intended parents. But it's about believing in yourself and your partner if you have one, and knowing that there's something about you that will connect with someone. So you don't have to put on a face and pretend to be someone that you're not. It's sometimes putting yourself out of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
but believe in who you are. I like to think of surrogacy matching as a lot like dating.
Hmm.
So, your profile is your dating profile, and the photos you share are the things that you would put on your Tinder and swipe across. So
Right.
you want to put yourself out there in a really positive way and remind people of how much fun you are. I think about the match I had with the surrogate who carried my daughter. And she didn't come to help me because I have epilepsy. She didn't come to help me because you know, I went through a hard time. She came to help me because she saw my husband and I, and she thought these guys would make great parents. And
Hmm.
she saw us and she said, they remind me of, my husband and I, but 5 years ago, before we had our kids. We have things in common. We like baseball and camping and, you know, Mexican food. And it's these small things that cause connection, right? Surrogacy obviously is something medical, but there's something beyond that. It's a relationship. And that can often get lost in the process because many people coming to surrogacy are coming to it from, some really traumatic events. So it's reframing things and remembering that it's, an exciting journey and we can have fun with it. And it should be a joyful experience. And just reframing the process.
What I love is that you're looking at different things like social media, you're looking at regular media and at traditional media. And also I love before when you said the word vulnerable, like make yourself a bit vulnerable, be who you are, and that might elicit the best match for you. So it's just so great that you've opened up the search in such a wonderful way with Not My Tummy. It's just so great. And Dr. Librach, for you, Baden has talked about some wonderful, great ways to find surrogates. What are some of the ways that you've helped people find surrogates and some of the other options you've used to help intended parents match up with the right surrogate?
Yeah, as Baden said, like surrogates in Canada are altruistic, meaning they get paid their expenses. We don't want to cost them money to do this, obviously, but they're doing it from their heart. They really want to help someone have a child, and for many of them, it's one of the most important things they've ever done in their life, and their families are many of them are so proud of them for doing this, and they're so proud of what they've done, and it makes them feel so good to show. I often when I do a transfer of embryos for, say, someone who's done a surrogacy for another couple or a sibling, they'll be showing the pictures of the first baby that they carried, so they feel like they're so part of that family. It's amazing. So there to find a surrogate, in Canada is a little bit more difficult than some countries, but it's getting better. There's more advertisers, there's more people like Baden to help people, and I really think that's the first step that people should try. And there are many great agencies in Canada that do this, that help, to put it all together to recruit surrogates and to make the match between an intended parent and the surrogate. But I think Bain's points are so important. You got to sell yourself. You have to the surrogate's choosing you as well, because they have a choice who they're going to work with, because it is altruistic, and they you want to make sure you put yourself out there, like she said. So I think her points are so amazing, and I wish all our parents knew this. They should go to her, because I think it will help them so much. Now we do have other options. We do what's called a hybrid option, where if you just can't find a surrogate in Canada, we can work with surrogacy agency in the US. What happens there, or in Mexico, where the surrogate will just travel here, they'll do the transfer, and they'll give birth in their own country. And the same thing in Mexico, just obviously the populations are much greater and there are more surrogates. So it is a possibility to do that kind of hybrid option. You would save money, obviously, because the costs in Canada are so much less to produce the embryos and do the IVF, but it would be more costly in many of these places to do it. So ideally, you want to do it in Canada if you can, and work with a wonderful surrogate like Catherine, who's done 4 times. I can't believe it; it's amazing. And so that's the first choice, obviously. But we do have that other option for people who just are having such a difficult time finding a surrogate.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I want to turn to Catherine in just about a minute, but just finally, Baden, I also love, just because this is Finding Your Bliss, that you turned a successful surrogate search and match into inspiration for a business that helps others do the same, which is so great. What do you love about what you do? We asked Dr. Librach, he taught, and he lit up with lots of animation talking about it. What do you love about what you do?
So there's a few things. I mean, I love everything. It's been an incredible year since launching. Um, But I love that every day is incredibly different and every client is different. I don't believe in working with templates. So every person that I connect with, we craft their story in a completely unique way. And that's fun for me. I'm the kind of person that likes a challenge and likes doing a new puzzle every single day. So it keeps things fresh. And when I get those texts or emails that say, someone has reached out to me and I'm going to have a match call. And those I feel like I could cry every time because I've been there, and those moments it's the weight of the world off your shoulders to know that you could be moving forward, and that from that point, in as little as a year from there, you could be holding your child in your arms. And I like to joke that, if I'd been paying more attention in science class, maybe I could have become a fertility doctor. But with the skill set that I have, this is the one piece that I can give in helping people to build their families. And so it just being a part of someone's story. And, I've now started to have, some of my first clients have been sending me pictures, in the delivery room of them holding their baby. And sometimes I'm one of the first people they share a photo with.
Wow.
And that is such an intimate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that the help I provided was valued at that level, I don't think I will ever get over it.
Wow. You don't take it lightly. It's such an incredible gift, and you can feel grateful. And I know Dr. Librach is nodding because of the wall of all of him with his patients and the other doctors that create with their patients and the babies, holding the babies. There's no better wall of photos than that. It's really amazing.
I just held the baby of a couple from Australia that just had their baby about 8 weeks ago, and it was just today. It was amazing.
It's so incredible. Just briefly before we go to commercial, and this is really for anyone, is there still a stigma around infertility, and how do we break the stigma around infertility and around surrogacy?
I think for everyone who opens up and talks about it, it makes it a little bit easier for the next person. Mm-hmm. And if you're the patient who's sitting there and it's not for you to open up, you don't owe it to anyone if you don't want to talk about it. But right. If you think that you can share what you're going through, even with a close friend, a cousin, a sibling, even those conversations with someone close to you matter, because they teach something that someone didn't know before. Right. And you never know the response that you're going to get from someone when you share these things. When I chose to open up for the first time, not only did I have some friends and family open up that said that they had been through this, but I actually had teachers from my high school reach out and say, I too am looking at going through a surrogacy journey, and I'd love to connect. And that was wild to me. I would have never expected, but what a beautiful thing that when
Mhm.
we put something out there, we create this community and we make it so much easier for other people who are struggling.
Yeah, and I think the dreaded question, that people ask is, when are you going to have children? That's everyone going through fertility dreads that question. And I tell people, say, you know what? Tell them you're having difficulty, and then you never know what they're going to say, because everybody knows somebody who's been through this,
Mhm.
and it's out there, and now it's much more accepted that you go to a fertility specialist, you get help if you need it.
That's brilliant. That's so true. Just be real, be authentic. And joining us now, who's been waiting very patiently here for some time, is five-time surrogate Catherine Lane. And later on, as mentioned, we'll also meet two dads who are celebrating the birth of their third child. And I told you a little bit off the top of the show, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about Catherine Lane. As I said, she is a five-time surrogate. And she is also about to do a really exciting podcast. And she has a YouTube channel and all kinds of exciting things happening. Catherine Lane, welcome to Finding Your Bliss. Can you tell us, Catherine, first of all, how you came to be a surrogate? How did this all unfold?
Well, for me, I was always raised with the importance of family. I'm from a fairly large family myself, and we've always had a close connection. My siblings and I mean, when we were younger, let's not kid ourselves, there were some issues, but we've always had each other's backs. And so family has always been such a top priority. And my parents always led by example with helping each other, like helping other people. My dad would have given the shirt off his back, given half a chance. Um, and so those were just kind of core values instilled in me. Even when I was younger, I had thought, it'd be so cool to help a family have a baby. And I mean, I'd never been pregnant. Who knew if I could? And I did have my child at a fairly young age and always wanted to have multiple kids. That turned out not to be the case for me, but I figured, you know what? I'm blessed with my one little baby who's going to be a little older this year, 17. Um, but I figured, you know what? If I can't have more babies for myself, then I can jump in now and start doing this for other people. And I thought I would be a surrogate one time, help a family, and then I would just, carry on. But honestly, the first time I saw that couple holding their little baby, it was such a rush. There was no turning back. I was literally in labor thinking, when can I do this again?
Wow, that is
And
so incredible. That is really, really incredible. What is the process of being a surrogate? Like, you've done it five times, so that first time. I'm just thinking about just even the being pregnant part, all of it. Like, what is the process like for you? Because there is that word altruism. It really comes to mind when I think of someone like you, because it is altruistic. You're not making money for it, expenses only. And there you are doing this over and over again. So what was that first time like? Like, yes, seeing them holding the baby at the end, how wonderful. But for you, what was it like just going through the journey?
the whole process was, I mean, if I look back now, that was back in 2018. And I mean, I looked at several different profiles of couples. And like Baden said, like, you really have to truly just be yourself. Because, like, if I look back now and people say, how did you match? Like other surrogates, how did you pick a couple? I said, you just have to feel it. And I mean, I could read 3 or 4 profiles that look the same, but there will be just something that just clicks. And you're like, I want to help this couple. I feel like we would have a connection. And then you're talking for a few weeks. It's literally called the dating period. Um, and then, it's all the blood work and blood tests. And for me, sharing it with my child was an amazing experience as well, because, they've learned a lot. And my entire family, we've got church members, like everyone's constantly asking throughout the pregnancy, how are you doing? How is the couple? Like, I have a
Wow.
few people that are like, could you have pictures? I still get pictures from some of the couples.
Wow.
It's like the one couple in particular, well, the ones I just carried for were very similar to one of my other couples, and they just become family.
Wow.
And so, as much as you're helping them to have a family, they've added to my family.
Oh,
So, I mean, the one couple I carried for twice, they're from Ireland. And one of these days, I'm going to get out to Ireland. They're hoping to come back here and visit. Like, I have the baby's grandma on my Facebook and the baby's auntie on my Facebook. And
oh,
they check in when I do other surrogacies. How's it going? And, there's no words to describe what the experience is like. It's, aside from my own child, is the best thing I've ever done. It's given me such a sense of purpose.
that is just beyond incredible. I really I have to hand it to you. I really marvel at incredible. You're like an angel on this planet, really, and you're helping people have what we all know now is the greatest thing in the world is our children. Wait till you have a grandchild. That's a whole other story. We
Right.
just
My
experienced.
kid's
Oh my
already
god,
talking about it, so don't you?
it's pretty intense. Um, so, how would you describe this last experience? Because we're going to be meeting the two dads and husbands who just had their third baby, which was your fifth surrogacy.
It
How
was.
would you describe that experience?
This experience was probably my rockiest one yet, actually. We did struggle with a loss early on, so
Mm.
that was a first experience for all of us. And then we had a couple of transfers that didn't work out, so we took a little bit of a break and we tried again. And there was some minor issues going throughout that pregnancy. I had carpal tunnel you wouldn't believe, which made baking very
Oh,
difficult, and
oh
everything.
dear.
Um, Ended up with high blood pressure, preeclampsia at the end, but at the end of the day, well, I ended up meeting them in the delivery room.
Oh,
Thankfully, before baby was born, but yeah, at the end of the day, their beautiful little baby girl is healthy and happy, and I've recovered well. So they're just, and it's funny. I talk to them about different things, and they're so much like that second couple that I carried for, and I'm like, you could be like the Canadian counterparts to them. It's just
right.
they're
And then you
so
can all
sweet.
get together. You can have a
Right.
reunion with the Ireland
Trust me.
couple, and
The dream is
isn't
there. If I could connect all of these families and their babies together in one place, I think that would probably be the best thing to ever happen to me, aside from my own child. But
Wow.
I
wow.
couldn't even imagine how much joy that would bring me.
That's really incredible, Catherine. What are your plans post surrogacy, and how do you find joy beyond being a surrogate?
See, that's where I'm struggling because now it's, do I do one more or do I let it go? Because I don't think I'll truly ever be happy being done. But I just need to find other ways that I can help because the entire community has brought me so much joy. We have a Facebook group with other surrogates, so I try and connect in there and help out new incoming surrogates. I try to comment and share about surrogacy so other people might think, hey, maybe I could do this. And I've had more people reach out about their own struggles with fertility, so it's kind of helping to try and take away that stigma. And so, like I said, now I'm hoping to start up a YouTube channel where I can share about surrogacy and also some of my other passions and things that bring me joy. But my biggest thing is trying to find more ways to help in the surrogacy community, knowing that I can't forever be a surrogate.
Yes.
So I'm just, finding new hobbies and things to do, but still keeping in touch with these couples and looking at the pictures because then you remember all the joy that you've helped to create.
What is your favorite thing to bake?
Mostly bread and dinner rolls. I love doing bread, hands
Yum.
on, just so fun.
Yum. I love that. And what is your best advice for someone who might be listening right now that wants to become a surrogate or knows somebody that might want to become a surrogate?
Honestly, just ask the questions. Find somebody you know who's done it and talk to them. My sister-in-law has been a surrogate. A friend of mine has been a surrogate. So that's where I started, was talking to them. They connected me through the agency. I 100% would recommend contacting the agency. I mean, if you know somebody and you want to do independent, always a good option too. But even if you talk to the agency, they can give you more information. And if you think that you might not qualify, reach out anyway because you would be like, they will do the screening to make sure that it's safe. And like Dr. Librach, I've been with Create for every single one of them. So the screening is extensive, but you'd be surprised at, don't think just because you're 37 and geriatric that you can't be
Oh
a
no, don't
surrogate
tell me.
because you absolutely can. Yeah, I know. You absolutely can. So just reach out, ask the questions. And honestly, I think if you can do it, you absolutely should because it will bring you so much happiness.
So great. Can you tell us a little more about your upcoming podcast? Because we'll be watching and listening.
See, I was hoping to actually start it during my last surrogacy. I wanted to kind of track all that was going on. Things got a little bit chaotic, and I didn't manage to do that. But I do have some videos and some pictures, so I do want to kind of share kind of the step by step process as a surrogate, and also share the raw moments, like things that went well are great, but it's important to share that things don't always go perfectly, and there's a whole lot of raw emotion behind it for the surrogate, for the parents, for the people around you. I mean, my family has mourned with me when sad, like when things haven't gone well, and they celebrate with me with the happy moments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it affects everybody around you. Like, it's not just as simple as, a couple of people, but I want to share, all of it. the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just really bring awareness and hopefully bring more people to surrogacy,
That's
help more
amazing.
of those parents because I can't help them all.
Before it happens, let us know, and we'll mention it on our social medias and on the show, and we'll give you a little plug to get
Awesome.
people watching, listening, because it sounds really, really wonderful. There's a question that we ask everyone at the end of the show, and of course, we're going to ask it to all of you. What is bliss for Baden Colt?
Ooh, that is a great question. Bliss for me, uh, honestly, is motherhood. I think enjoying it and then, well, really, I'm going to change that to parenthood, right? Being a parent and helping other people become parents,
Yes.
kind of all rolled into one. I had no idea how magical it would be until I experienced it myself. Um, and it's changed my life. And I owe a great deal of gratitude to so many people who got me there. And I don't take it for granted a single day.
That's wonderful. And Catherine Lane, what is bliss for Catherine Lane?
Oh, family and just being able to help others. It's my mom and I have said I can't do a normal 9 to 5 job. I need to do something where I'm creating a difference in others' lives, and because that's what keeps me going. That's my happy place. That's
That's
my bliss.
wonderful. That is so wonderful. And finally, to you, Dr. Librach, what is bliss for Clifford, Dr. Clifford Librach?
Well, of course, the work that I do every day and what I've dedicated my life to help people have children is definitely blissful for me because I can go home every day, feel like I've done something to help the world. And of course, the host of this show is my bliss as well as our two wonderful children. So we're so blessed to have two beautiful children as well as a grandchild who's now almost 2 years old. So, my family, of course, is my bliss. So thank you very much. It was
Mwah.
wonderful doing this interview with you.
Love this so much. What is the best way for everyone to contact you and connect with you on social media? I'll start with Baden Colt. What is the best way for people to connect with you on social media, etc.?
So across all platforms, I am at Not My Tummy. So you can find me there. I am constantly checking my messages and my comments. So feel free to send me a message, like a video. I love connecting with people.
That's so great. And Catherine Lane, what is the best way for people to connect with you? It's going to be important for the podcast, everyone, so listen up. Yeah.
So I can be reached on Facebook or Instagram. It's Catherine Lane on Facebook and at Catherine Lane 87 on Instagram. And if you stay tuned, my YouTube channel will be That Surrogate Baker.
That surrogate baker. That's fabulous. And thank you for that. And Dr. Clifford Librach, what is the best way for people to connect with you, to make an appointment with you, and to see you live and in person?
The best way is through my administrative people because if it got to me, I would never be able to read it all. So it's Dr. Librach, Librach is the spelling, at Dr. Librach admin, ADMIN, at createivf.com.
So everyone, that was Dr. Librach, admin, ADMIN, at createivf.com. That's amazing. I want to thank you all for being on the show today. It was really great to have all of you here, and looking forward to having on as well the two doctors tomorrow. Each week we spotlight a fabulous person like Dr. Clifford Librach from the Create Fertility Center, and other wonderful change makers, fertility change makers like Baden Colt, and angels on this planet like Catherine Lane, and wonderful dads and parents like Michael DeJager and Matthew Brockman, who are living their bliss. So if you are someone who has found and is following their bliss, we would love to hear from you. We also love to feature singer-songwriters on the show. So if you're a singer, please reach out to us. Also, what did you love about today's program? Are there any guests or topics that you'd like to suggest and would like us to feature on Finding Your Bliss? Just write to us at fyb@findingyourbliss.com. For those of you that don't know, I'm also the Bliss Coach. That means I help you get unstuck, gain clarity, and find your passion and purpose. Reach out to me at findingyourbliss.com/coaching. I'm also on Insight Timer, the #1 free meditation app. All you have to do is search up Judy Librach. And of course, you can always follow us at the Bliss Minute on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.